Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So just finished mowing on my Ryobi Electric Riding Lawn Mower that I did the previous review on, which means I have some cleanup to do because, as I mentioned, this thing, where it suffers a little bit is in turning radius. So we gotta do a little cleanup, and that's why I need to grab one of these 18-volt batteries, because I also have a Ryobi push mower. This is the PL100 18-volt push mower. It takes two of these batteries. I've owned it for as long as I've had that guy. So I'm gonna do the same kind of review. We'll talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of actually owning a 16-inch, 18-volt battery-powered lawnmower. So let's start off by talking features. The PL100 is a 16-inch, 18-volt electric push mower. It's pretty no frills. It doesn't have auto drive or anything. It is a manual push in that way, but it's so light that it really doesn't matter. It does have Ryobi's single point height adjustment, so this one lever allows you to adjust all four wheels, which can be kind of handy. You just pop it over, select your height, and the whole thing moves pretty effortlessly up and down. It has a handle on the top because this is pretty lightweight as well. So with the handle folded, you can easily just pick it up, carry it, toss it on a shelf, store it in the winter, that sort of thing. It handles Ryobi's normal 1+ 18-volt batteries, so the same ones you use for the drills and any of your other tools. There is a little bit of a catch to that, which we'll talk about in a minute. It'll take up to 2. You don't have to run 2. You can run a single. But the way this thing goes through batteries, you're going to want to run 2. And then there's a safety key here that you can take off just as a security measure so that nobody can start the mower. Moving around to the side, it does have a bagger. That bag can come off and this becomes a mulching mower. And then you've got a pretty simple set of controls at the top. Starting the mower is simple. There's a push button here and a lever. So all you have to do is push the button and then pull the lever in and the mower will start up. So as far as the review, let's start off with the good. It is very lightweight, it's super easy to use, and it has an extra kind of feature that doesn't get thought of very often, and that's in the way the control surfaces are designed on this mower. With a traditional push mower, my wife always had the easy excuse to get out of helping to mow in that she's left-handed, and all traditional push mowers, for the most part, are made for right-handed people. So if you're left-handed and you have to pull with your right hand to get the starter to go, it's not so easy to do. With this mower, since you literally have controls on both sides and the one little push button to get it to go, doesn't matter if you're left or right-handed, you can easily start this up and move. It's super easy to maneuver even though it's not auto drive. I do have some hills in the yard, never had an issue with it. As far as that goes, it mows very level. The one-touch adjustment is pretty nice on it, and you can hold 2 batteries. So with the right batteries, this thing is capable of doing my entire front yard before it runs out. And then it's just a quick switch and you keep going. The other thing I like about it is since it's electric, there's no oil, there's no gas, there's no anything. So when you need to clean up the bottom, you simply flip it over on its side. You don't have to worry about anything running out of carburetor. In the winter, there's nothing to do to store it. You simply just fold the handle, throw it on a shelf in your shed, and you're done. Since the batteries come out, there's not even anything you have to worry about there. Just throw them on their tenders and life is good. So we've covered the good, let's cover the bad. There are some compromises that you make with an 18-volt lawnmower that you wouldn't have in a larger one. Capacity, longevity, I guess, is going to be part of it, so how far you can mow. If you're dealing with really, really heavy or nasty grass, it may be difficult for something like this to cut through because it's just not as powerful. The other issue that you run into with this mower that's kind of a negative is the batteries. So for me, having an 18-volt mower that uses the same batteries as my drills and everything else was a pronounced positive, and I don't use it a ton, so all of the negatives really don't impact me. But there are some compromises and some issues with that. The style of how this particular mower uses those batteries is to sit them like this, where they're sort of overlapping each other. And because of that, there's a height restriction on these batteries. It's about 2 inches. So from the top of the deck to the bottom, about 2 inches. If you go bigger than that, they're not going to overlap properly, or even if you can somehow force them to get in there, you're not going to be able to close the cover. So just something to keep in mind. As far as the Ryobi batteries, a 4 amp hour battery will fit. Anything bigger than that though, you're going to get into a size where you're going to struggle. There are some generic options that work with Ryobi tools that are in that 6 range that will fit under this cover. The other negative that I've run into just a little bit, it's sort of a kind of a fiddly thing, is the way the bag attaches. This bag has 2 metal clips right here that go into this little piece of plastic. And if you're not real careful to get it seated properly, it can sit loose. And then when you start mowing, it pops off and you have to stop and reattach it. A minor thing, you kind of get used to dealing with it. Also worth mentioning in there, related to the batteries, is these batteries do get very warm while they're riding in this mower. If you're using this to mow an entire yard, these get downright hot. And there is some stuff online about some people who have had issues with the ends of the batteries because they're plastic. So this piece here actually warping and deforming because of the heat of the mower. I've not had that as an issue, but I have gotten these pretty hot to the touch. It's just something to keep in mind and something to watch out for if you're going to be using this to mow an entire yard or really kind of stressing it out. My particular use, where I'm just going, you know, around my fire pit and around a tree and around the deck and then around the trampoline and everything over there, and I'm shutting it off in between, not a real big deal because everything has a chance to cool down. With any tool like this, the question that really comes up as far as a review is, should you buy one? And my answer on that is a strong maybe. If I was trying to mow this entire yard using just this mower, I'd go through at least 1 set of batteries. So to do something as your primary mower, I would probably go more with the 40 volt or get into something just a little bit bigger and more capable. If you're using it the way I use it, to just do cleanup and occasional work, or if you have a house in the city where you have a very small yard, this thing is perfect. It's wonderful for that use. I just don't think it would be the best thing if you were trying to mow a 1/3 of an acre by yourself. So unfortunately, there's not much else to say, which means I have to actually go get to work and, well, mow my lawn. I will mention one thing though that was just sort of a human nature kind of retraining thing. When we first got this mower and we're using it just for cleanup around the yard, we noticed the battery wasn't lasting, and I started kind of realizing that both my wife and I were starting the mower, mowing around a tree, and then walking with the mower running to the next thing and mowing around that. With an electric mower, since you're not pulling to restart it and going through all that hassle, you got to retrain your brain a little bit to shut it off. Treat it more like a weed whacker that has wheels, and you'll be fine. So minor little pro tip for you, or I guess literally non-pro tip. So this being the end of a dad video or review, I need to give you a dad joke. So I went online and I was looking, because I don't have a lot of dad jokes about lawnmowers, and what I found is most dad jokes about lawnmowers are surprisingly racist. This one isn't, however. So what do you get when you cross a lawnmower and a bird? Shredded tweet. Have a good day, everybody. We'll see you next time. Remember, the most important part of any DIY project is just to do it. Bye.